Welcome to Spot on Sports. This is our divisional series, and today we're focusing on the AFC East. So each of our broadcasters are going to give their opinion and predictions when it comes to each one of these teams. Our first question and first team we're going to go over is the New York Jets. What do we feel is the floor and ceiling for Zach Wilson? I'm going to start with Darren.
Well, I think that Zach Wilson is in a situation he's not needed to be great right away. So looking at it this year, I don't know if I can evaluate what his floor and ceiling will be going forward. But for looking for this year, I'm just looking at him to be able to keep the team afloat. I think that they actually a lot of people are asleep on them, and I expect them to be a team that's competitive in a lot of games, but unfortunately comes out on the losing end of a lot of those competitive games. I like the receivers they surrounded him with Elijah Moore. I like him a lot. You got Corey Davis coming over there, Jamison Crowder there, and Denzel Mims. You got two tackles in Vera Tucker and Becton on the outside of your offensive line. And they got Michael Carter out of North Carolina. I really like how that offense is setting up. And it's setting up for things to be easier for Zach Wilson this rookie year. So his floor is he's a turnover machine, getting used to higher competition. His ceiling is that he shows that he is worthy of that pick.
I think it's difficult talking about the Jets because they always seem to be in a stage of rebuilding, so to say. And so now they have a new coaching staff. They brought in some good receivers and things for Zach Wilson to work with. When you look at the defensive side of the ball, they've done some things there too. And so I feel like it's his rookie season. This is an adjustment from college to the pro level. So there is some grace to be extended there. And it's with the Jets, it's anything in a positive direction is a plus. If Zach Wilson can come out and be a game manager and the defense cannot give the game away, that's a plus for the Jets right now. And so I think Zach Wilson is one of those players where you kind of look down the road and see what he could be down the road. But hey, this is just year one. And so again, if he could just be a game manager and not lose them so many games, then that's a step in the positive direction for the Jets.
I definitely think there's a lot of potential in Zach Wilson, and there's a lot of opportunity there for him in terms of his ceiling. I think he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league in years coming. I think he could have a decent and possibly even being a rookie of the year this year. But I think there's also high bust potential when it comes to Zach Wilson. I feel as though all could go wrong. We looked at him in BYU. He wasn't really talked about to the end of the year. He was also, how do I say it? He didn't really have any competition in New York. So I really find it a great possibility that he's a bust this year, but we will see. My next team, and a team that's kind of progressed a little more, kind of what the Jets would want, is the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins had a pretty good leap last year. There's question marks on the quarterback by some people. What do we see in Tua in his second year? Is there a leap? I'm going to start with Darren again.
I'm not going to say it's a leap, but I do think there's a step up. I think a leap might be a little bit too dramatic when predicting what he's going to be about half of the. It's a lot of uncertainty, but I do think we'll see a step up. And a lot of these rookies from last year, not just Tua, because they didn't have a real offseason to start off. So now he's getting a real offense. He said he didn't know the playbook at times. So, yes, I think we will see a step up from Tua, especially with having Jalen Waddle. They got, Will Fuller from the Texans on the team. And, their offensive line is a little bit shaky. However, they have those two guys out. They have a defense that is good for growing pains, because I think they do keep Xavier Howard, but they have a defense that's good for growing pains. So he may have some growing pains. This is kind of still his rookie year. He hasn't even played a whole 16-game season, let alone 17.
Yeah, I think Darian's right. He hasn't played a full season, and he came out and admitted, I didn't learn the playbook like I should have, and I should have did this better and that better. So this is year two, where we're looking at him to get a full season in, and we've known Brian Flores to kind of make his players play to their max potential. So I think this is a year where we do see a lot of improvement into it. Hopefully he can be aggressive and say, hey, I'm the quarterback of this team now, and this is what I have to do for us to be a successful team. And I think it's possible for Tua.
I think it's going to be very interesting. Personally, I was underwhelmed with Tua's performance in his first year. Understandably, there was no training camp, but I just didn't see anything that was like, this guy is a next great quarterback in this league. I felt very average I was looking at something very average looking at Tua, but we will see. Hopefully there's a jump year two. He has some new weapons. We will see. The next team we're going to go over is the New England Patriots. Obviously, they drafted a QB and also was able to keep Cam Newton this year. They got Mac Jones, but kept Cam Newton, obviously, as a rental for one more year. What do we see as the timeline with Mac Jones replacing Cam Newton and becoming the starter in New England? I'm going to start with Mia.
I don't think this is something that we necessarily see this year. And I'll put it like this. We see Mac Jones take over this year on two conditions. One being Cam Newton is severely hurt. The other being Cam Newton just comes out and stinks up the joint. And at that point, I see Mac Jones maybe taking over mid-season, towards the end of the season, to where they're kind of sending a message to Cam Newton to say, hey, you're not it. The ball stops here with you. And that's just where that goes. I think Cam has some pieces now. They've acknowledged that he didn't have something to this season, just to see what he can do with the added pieces that they gave him. And so the ball is pretty much in Cam Newton's court in that regard, as far as how much he can improve with this team.
Look at this. They put everything in front of Cam Newton to succeed in their mind, that they feel like they could. So they're setting the stage where there's no excuse of you didn't have this, you didn't have that, which was a viable excuse last year. But when you're looking at rookie quarterbacks drafted in the first round, almost all of them play in their rookie year at some point. Even you look at Tua, who we just spoke about. Ryan Fitzpatrick wasn't playing bad. For the first time in his career, he actually went through like a whole season, and it was like, oh, okay, I'm okay with this. And they still put into it because rookie quarterbacks are drafted to be the future, and you have a certain amount of time that they're there when with their rookie contract. So I'm looking at the first 4 games. You're going to play the Jets, you're going to play the Dolphins, you're going to play the Saints, and you're going to play the Bucks. Cam has to show up in those 4 games because that's the opening statement. If he can get through those 4 games, you're going to see the Cowboys. You're going to see the Jets again, and a couple of other teams that defenses aren't as strong. If you can get through those first 4 games, I think the Dolphins, I think the Saints, and I think the Bucks will put up a good test for your offense. And if he can get through those games, then he may be able to stave off Mac Jones to halfway through the year. If he's not playing good there,
I definitely think Mac Jones has a possibility of playing this year. But my opinion with the New England Patriots is Tom Brady just left and won a championship. Bill Belichick is trying to win at all costs, regardless of what the situation is, regardless who was taken in the first round. I think Bill Belichick is playing the quarterback who's going to win the most games. And if that's Cam Newton will be playing. And if that's Mac Jones will be playing. So my opinion is I think Cam Newton had a pretty good year this year, personally. He has some weapons. He didn't have any weapons the first time. He was still getting back to schedule, coming back from injury, and didn't have a training camp with a new team that they say is one of the most advanced systems. So I'm going to give Cam Newton the benefit of the doubt, but let's be real here. Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback probably next year unless we see Superman Cam Newton come back this year. But that leaves us to our last team with this division in the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills. What do we think is success for them this year? Is it the AFC Championship? Is it a Super Bowl? Is it just winning the division? And where do we think they are? Do we think they're actually going to go to the divisional round? Do we think they're going to win the division? I'm going to start with Darian.
When Tom Brady with the Patriots, winning the division was not success. When you have achieved better, that's the standard. And I don't use Tom Brady and the Patriots to say that's what those are. Obviously, they're not a dynasty. How this is their division, period. Unless Tua takes this massive leap, I don't think that the other 2 teams in that division are set up to win Bills division to win. Them doing that that's not success. Getting to the AFC Championship game for me is success for them because I think they're 1, 3, maybe 4 teams. I'm not going to go 5. I don't think the Titans are there personally, but it's 1 of 3, maybe 4 teams in the AFC that I think have a legitimate chance to win the conference. And with that being said, you don't want to be one of those. You don't want to be one of the 2 of those teams that does not make it to the AFC Championship game. So if you're looking at the Buffalo Bills, they went out last year. They lost in the AFC Championship game to return to that spot.
I think Buffalo can't get content, right? So it's become a contender right now. That's the stage they're at. And that's hard because you have the Kansas City Chiefs at the top who don't seem like they want to let go of that top spot. But I think the Bills have to figure out a way to become a contender. They have to figure out the pieces that they need to get to that next level. And above all, the main thing outside of getting better is that they don't regress. The division is theirs automatically. Just looking at the roster, we can see that pending any, injuries and setbacks of that nature or whatever, the division is theirs. They have to figure out how they're going to get out of the conference championship.
I think those are some good points. I think it's safe to say SOS Discussion thinks the Buffalo Bills will win the AFC East. And now it's just determination. Are they going to come out the AFC and play for a Super Bowl? We'll see. Y'all tell us what y'all think in the comment section. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see y'all next time. SOS Discussion.